Hello everyone. Let's look at using MCP with CLI in Python. So Goose is a CLI which currently works with macOS and Linux. If you're on Windows, you can use WSL. And what it does is it's an open source AI agent that supercharges your software development by automating coding tasks. Thus their description, not mine. So we're going to be looking at the model context protocol again, and we'll also look at how it integrates with Goose and how, as a developer, you can use the CLI to test with Goose your MCP servers that you can write in Python, TypeScript, or any language, but we'll be looking in particular at how we can install Goose and how we can test model context protocol servers such that we could then deploy them to production or pass them on to somebody who's the end user, who would be using Claude Desktop, for instance, or any other particular client that is compatible with MCP, model context protocol. So with all that out of the way, let's actually bring up the terminal, and I'm going to try and install Goose from scratch. Cool. So run the following command to install the latest version of Goose on macOS. That actually works on Linux as well. And as I say, if you're on Windows, condolences, but you can run WSL. While that's running, we'll just consider what else we'll be doing. We'll also need to choose our LLM provider. And I'm going to choose OpenAI because that's probably what most people watch this video will be using, but you can pick whatever. If you want to run it locally, Llama would be obviously the best choice. Anthropic, if you're using Claude, Azure, Amazon, Databricks, Google, Grok. No I didn't notice DeepSeek there, but even DeepSeek you could probably run through OpenRouter. OpenAI, which model provider API key is? Would you like to save this to your keyring? Yep. So I have already set my OpenAI API key. Just accept all the defaults until you get to here. And if you're cost conscious, you might want to do 3.5 turbo. Is it then 0125? I think that's right. Okay. So run goose-configure again to adjust your config or add extensions. If not, you just do goose session. Goose is running, enter your instructions or try asking Goose what to do. So we won't do that just yet. You can see it's found the model, my working home directory. Right, let's just get that back to the top of the screen and let's do goose configure. What we're interested in is we're going to be doing add extension. And then we've got a choice of built-in extension, use an extension that comes with Goose. But as developers, the idea here of this video is as if you're a developer, you use Python or TypeScript, and you want to create your own MCP server using either the MCP SDK or you want to write your own from scratch. Obviously, in the previous videos in this series, you've seen me use Model Inspector, but here we're actually going to use the command line extension. So I'm running from the documentation, and I'll put a link to that in the video description. We want to add our own model, so I think we'll try and add one that's like a Python-based one, just to stay on familiar territory. And this is the good bit of this video. So let's tell a lie. I'll start with we'll go on to do the fetch one in a minute. Let's actually add the server file system, which is an MPC server. So this is just a name. So we'll do file system. What command should be run? So this, you will always need to look up the documentation. So it's npx-y and then the name of the particular model. You'll get this from the, typically you'll get this from GitHub. It will be in the install notes. Model context protocol / So I'm typing all this in. I looked this up earlier, but you will need to just as if you were configuring this for Claude Desktop, it's just the same. And then I'm going to add, I just need to open another window, or another tab, sorry. Let's just do home rag. Okay, so I've got two laptops and I just couldn't remember which one I was on. So home rag. And then I'm going to do videos. Timeout, I'm not going to wait 300 seconds. Would you like to add environment variables? No, but if you were installing SQLite or a database, for instance, a Postgres, you'd want to be putting in your username. Or if you're installing like Quadrant, you'd be putting in the collection name and the embedding model. So that's green, so that looks successful. So this is for any models which provide the install information. So all of that you would get from GitHub. That is specific to your home directory. So PWD if you're on a Unix or Linux machine. And if you're on Windows, as I say, condolences, but you can use WSL. Okay, so let's try it. So Goose session, and just so I don't dox myself, I'm going to ask, can I do clear there? No, sorry, clear? No. I really don't know what there's some quite zany messages on here, by the way. So, right, let's look at how many files are in my local videos directory. So there you see path. It's found that path. There are 20 items in your local videos directory consisting of both files and directories. What is the most common file extension? I'm expecting this to be MKV because that's the default that OBS uses. You can see, wow, it's done awk. Oh yeah, I downloaded an ebook that was in HTML format, so that is actually correct. And you can see what it's done. You can see the commands it's run. That's so cool. Okay, let's right, as promised, let's try and add something which is Python. So if you've not got UV or UVX installed on your Linux or Mac OS X machine, you'll need to install UV. And I can't remember, I think you just install UV and then UVX is part of it, I think. Anyway, right, let's go back to, let's exit this because this is like the session with Goose. We just need to go back to Goose configure added extension, command line extension, and we want to Let me just check my notes. I want to add one that's actually that I can actually test. Right, let's do. So I'm going to call this fetcher. I'm calling it fetcher just so that you can see that it's the name, that it's like a label. So UVX MCP. And again, you have to look these up typically on GitHub because each of these will be different. Each MCP server will have a different name, obviously. The fetch one, which is quite one of the popular ones, which allows you to go off and fetch information from the internet. Would you like to add environment variables? No, but quite often you will. Added the extension. Okay. And I did this earlier, and it took quite a while, but just to prove that it's recent, today is it's about the 17th of March 2025. So I'm going to ask it for, can you fetch me the results of the 2025 Australian Grand Prix from, I'm just going to tell it Wikipedia because I can't think of what other publicly available information that would have it. And obviously Wikipedia is a safe bet. Show me the top 10 finishers. And I forgot to do it in Goose session because I was making the video and I wasn't concentrating. So yeah, no harm done. Right, let's paste that in. It does take quite a while, so I don't know what this start index 5000 thing is. And to be honest, it would be quicker just to do it yourself. But the point here is that you can automate this and then it will go and fetch this information, and then you can chain these tools together. So then you would ask it to go and insert this data into a database and then create separate tables and for each race of the season, for instance. And I really don't know why this takes so long. Perhaps if anybody from Goose is watching, they could tell us, but okay. So again, this is non-deterministic, so I've already got a different output to what I got earlier, but let's make that a bit smaller, see if we can get it formatted a bit better. So this race was 3 days ago, so we can see the top 3, that's correct, the points correct, the team's standing. So yeah, we can very clearly see that that's use Wikipedia. Right. So just to summarize, this is a way to test your MCP server once you've written it without needing to have Claude Desktop. Claude Desktop isn't available for Linux, and if you haven't got a Anthropic subscription, you may not want to be testing. And also you may actually want, the whole point of the protocol is that it's vendor neutral, so to speak. So yeah, Goose settings, remove extension. So if you've got an extension, you think, oh, well, that's a security risk, or all extensions currently, well, you must, okay. How do we disable an extension? Okay, toggle extensions. So we might think, oh, well, we don't want to be exposing our file system, so then we disable it, then we do goose-configure, then goose remove. It's a shame it doesn't disable it goose-configure. Use space to toggle and enter to submit. Is that working? Goose configure. Remove extension. Okay, you can edit it directly. Let's just go and edit it in Vim then. Oh, VI. I'll do NV. NV is my shortcut to NeoVim. Right, so Goose provider. Extensions developer enabled built in. So we've got file system 1. Sorry, we've got developer, fetcher, file system 1. So you can see that was the one that we installed with npx. Fetcher we installed with, effectively with UVX, which was Python. Oh, and developer is built in. Okay. So I'm going to do 9dd. Save that, quit. Now if I run goose configure, yeah, and you can see that the fetch has disappeared. Cool. Okay, so then if we just go back to goose configure, let's we'll just add it back again just for practice. So command line extension, fetch. Then we'll do the UVX MCP server-fetch timeout. I really don't know what you need for that, but 10 seconds. Would you like to add environment? No, added fetch. Let's just do one last test. So let's do goose session. And I'm only scratching the surface here. Obviously, the great power is once you start chaining things together. So fetch the current weather for London, UK, and show it to me as JSON. Use Open Meteo. I don't know if it's going to be okay with this. If Open Meteo is kind of the one that, okay. Use publicly available data. WTTR? I don't know if that's true. How can it be sunny? It's dusk. To be fair, it has been sunny today. So let's. It didn't present it as JSON, did it? Temperature. Okay, so it doesn't understand. I don't know whose fault that was. I'm guessing that's. Is that? I don't know whose fault that is, but that's not particularly good, is it? Let's open that link. I don't even know what this WTTR thing is. Okay, 18 degrees. Well, there we go. Anyway, that is a look at Goose. I encourage everybody to have an experiment with it. If you're a developer, then it's going to be a very good way to test MCP servers that you create without having to write your own client and without having to use Anthropic's Claude Desktop and without having to have a subscription to Anthropic. Goose is your on-machine AI agent capable of automating complex development tasks from start to finish, more than just code suggestion, build entire projects from scratch. So there we see we've got tutorials, documentation. So the tutorials, you've got CI/CD environments, Figma, Fetch. We just looked at Fetch, GitHub, Google Maps. All of these are the typical MCP servers that you'll see on any MCP server directory listing. So these are all kind of the most popular ready-made MCP servers. But if you're developing your own, I think Goose will be a really good way just to test it, and test it in conjunction with an LLM via the command line. And for instance, you could then ask it to insert the data into SQLite using SQLite MCP server. Whereas with the MCP inspector, you probably wouldn't want to be doing all that just through the MCP inspector. The MCP inspector really is just to kind of, it's almost just to, I think it's better to sort of for listing your resources and your prompts and so on. Just a FYI on this, Goose currently works on Mac OS that supports them. I think I read somewhere that it supports, I can't remember. I think it supports most of MCP Servers features. I think there's something which it doesn't yet support. Okay, yeah, Goose relies heavily on tool calling capabilities and currently works best with Anthropic's Claude 3.5. Yeah, DeepSeek's not listed there, is it? So configure your provider. That's what I've just basically showed you. You've got Goose CLI or Goose Desktop. I don't know anything about Goose Desktop. That's not the purpose of what we're doing here. But yeah, I mean, obviously the next steps would be to then start looking at adding environment variables and combining these combining these MCP servers to do stuff. Okay. Goose extensively uses tool calling, so models without it, like DeepSeek, can only do chat completion. Okay. And there's a tip for Llama. You don't provide the local host. That Goose set it for you to localhost 11434. Yeah, so a couple of little quirks with DeepSeek and Llama, but other than that, all good. Docs, install Goose, configure LLM using extensions. So we've looked at extensions and it guides you through it really. So what's this? Very, very nice, very useful. So thank you for watching. Thumbs up if you like these videos. And if you've got any questions or suggestions for future videos, happy to do one. In the background, I'm attempting to write an MCP server in another language, which other than Python or TypeScript, but I think it could be quite a big task, as the SDKs do tend to make things a lot simpler for you. If you know the Python SDK and you've tried writing a server, even the fast MCP part of the MCP Python SDK, even that helps you a lot because it manages your sessions, opens and closes your sessions. So yeah, and also I was reading that MCP will be using or looking to use HTTP and rather than, what was it? I think HTTP and server-side events rather than WebSockets. I was reading that although there's WebSockets being added for the Python SDK, I think going forward, obviously there's the scaling where you'll be having MCP servers on remote servers. And I think the plan is to use HTTP and SSE server-sent events. But WebSockets, I believe, are, they've been discussed, but I don't think they're going to be included as part of the actual protocol itself. But the Python SDK supports WebSockets. So obviously WebSockets being client server, server to client, whereas the server sent events are just server to client. And yeah, it's quite interesting if you read about SSE versus WebSockets. Yes. Anyway, thank you for watching, and yeah, thumbs up, like, subscribe, and all that. Thanks for watching.